You won't believe the entitlement I dealt with this week. My HOA decided to build a community garden on a steep, winding mountain road that I own and specifically warned them about. I own a large plot of land on a mountain. My house is on the lower part, but the upper part is raw nature with a narrow, private dirt road I maintain. The HOA's garden spot is at the top, only accessible through my road. A week ago, the HOA sent a notification a request that they'd be using my road for construction. I called the president, Bob, and explained my road isn't built for heavy vehicles. It's a single-lane dirt track with steep grades and sharp turns. Bob laughed it off, saying their contractors were professionals. I insisted a truck would get stuck or slide off the sheer drop. He got huffy, claimed an easement I knew didn't exist, and I formally denied access in a certified letter to the board with photos of the treacherous spots. Yesterday morning, I heard a grinding rumble. A massive, fully loaded cement truck was inching its way onto my property. I sprinted out, yelling, "You can't bring that truck up here." The driver just shrugged, showed me a work order from the HOA, and said he goes where he's told. I pleaded with him, pointing out the unsafe road, but Bob on the phone told him to just go for it. The driver gave me an apologetic look and drove on. I knew this would be a disaster, so I went inside and started recording. The truck made it 100 yards before the wheels started spinning, the engine screaming. It slid sideways, digging deep ruts into my road. He was completely stuck on a sharp, narrow turn, tilted at a terrifying angle. I walked up, still recording, and said, "You're stuck." He just nodded, pale and sweating. Then Bob called, furious, screaming, "What did you do to my truck?" I laughed. "Bob, I'm looking at a Tenton paperweight you sent up my private road against my written warning. It's destroying my property and in danger of rolling down the mountain. What are you going to do about it?" Stunned silence. "It's really stuck?" he asked. "Oh, it's stuck all right," I replied. "And your contractor is now trespassing. You are liable for all damages." He stammered about costs, but I cut him off. "Your poor planning is not my emergency. You need to figure out how to get this hazard off my property before it rains and the road gives way." His next brilliant idea: "We'll just send a tow truck." I told him a heavy-duty tow truck would just get stuck too. The only way was downhill, with a specialized recovery team he'd be paying for, along with the road repairs. The next few hours were a circus. The construction owner, Bob, and other HOA members showed up, trying to intimidate me. I stood there calmly, recording everything. I laid out my terms: professional recovery, full road restoration by my chosen contractor, a notarized apology, and a legally binding agreement to never use my road again. Until then, the truck stays as a monument to their incompetence. They threatened to sue for unlawfully detaining the vehicle. I just smiled and played back the recording of me warning the driver. I showed them the certified letter. The color drained from their faces. They had no legal leg to stand on. By late afternoon, reality set in. They had to call a specialized heavy-haul recovery team, which cost a fortune. Watching them slowly winch the truck down the mountain took almost 6 hours. The HOA is now footing a massive bill for the recovery: the wasted cement, the contractor's downtime, and my road repair. They tried to argue, but I held firm. My property, my rules. They've signed the agreement never to use my road again, and are trying to figure out how to get materials to their garden spot now. The best part is, the Ritana Poladiaiv got it framed. So, if you're dealing with an entitled HOA, stand your ground, document everything, and know your rights. Sometimes, you have to let them drive right into the consequences of their own bad decisions. My little slice of heaven is near a new development being built, and of course, that comes with a homeowners association, or HOA. Now, I'm not part of this HOA. My property is completely separate, but their land borders the base of my mountain road. A few weeks ago, I get a call from the HOA president. Let's call him Bob. Bob is all business. Tells me they're pouring a big concrete slab for a community pool and their usual route is blocked. He says their cement truck needs to use my road to get to a back access point for their site. I immediately told him, "Bob, that's not a good idea." I explained that my road wasn't designed for that kind of weight. It's a gravel road on a steep grade, built for my pickup and my wife's SUV, not a 40-ton cement truck. I described the tight switchbacks, the soft shoulders, and the simple fact that a heavy vehicle could cause a landslide or just completely destroy the road surface I spent so much time and money on. I wasn't trying to be difficult. I was being practical. I offered them an alternative, a longer route that went around the other side of their development. It would add maybe 30 minutes to their trip, but it was all paved and public. Bob wasn't having it. He got a bit huffy. Said my road was the most direct and logical path, and that they were on a tight schedule. He even had the nerve to say, "It's just a dirt road. What's the big deal?" I stood my ground. I said, "Look, I'm telling you, as the person who built and owns this road, it will not support your truck. The answer is no. If you treat, you're doing so against my explicit warning, and you'll be liable for any and all damages." I thought that was clear enough. A direct warning from the property owner. What could be clearer? Well, apparently, not clear enough for Bob and his Fast forward to yesterday morning. I'm having my coffee, enjoying the mountain view, when Primate AI, ERA Italiano, the deep, guttural roar of a heavy engine struggling. It's a sound that does not belong up here. I walk to my window, and my jaw just drops. There it is, a massive, fully loaded cement truck, trying to navigate the first big hairpin turn on my road. The driver is clearly in over his head. The front wheels are spinning, kicking up gravel, but the back end, weighted down with all that concrete, is just sinking. The truck is tilted at this terrifying angle, with its outer wheels hanging precariously over the soft shoulder. I can literally see the edge of the road crumbling under the weight. I grab my phone and start recording, because I know this is going to be a mess, and I need proof. I walk down there, and the driver looks at me with sheer panic in his eyes. He says, "My boss told me this was the way to go. The HOA guy said it was cleared." I just shook my head. "Dude, I'm the owner. I told your boss and the HOA president yesterday this would happen." The poor driver just slumped over his steering wheel. The cement in his truck was already starting to cure. They were on a very expensive clock. So I called Bob. He answers, sounding all cheerful. "Hey there, just checking in." I cut him right off. "Bob, you need to get down to the base of my road. Now. And you might want to call a very, very large tow truck. Maybe two." The silence on the other end of the line was golden. Then, sputtering. What are you talking about?" I told him, "Your cement truck, Bob, it's stuck. It's halfway off my road, which it has completely torn up, and it's starting to look like it might just roll down the mountain." You've never heard a man's voice change so fast. The panic set in. He said he'd be right there. I went back inside, made another cup of coffee, and just waited. This was their mess. They were going to have to figure it out. Bob shows up about 20 minutes later, along with the construction foreman. They take one look at the truck, tilted and sinking, and their faces go pale. The foreman starts yelling at the driver. The driver is yelling back that he was just following orders, and Bob is just standing there, looking like he wants the earth to swallow him whole. Turns to me, trying to be friendly now. Okay, let's just figure this out. We'll get it towed, no problem." I just looked at him. "Bob, that's the least of your problems. First, you trespassed. Second, you ignored my direct warning. Third, your truck has caused significant damage to my private property. We're not at the no problem stage. We're at the you need to call your insurance company stage." The foreman, at least, was a little more practical. He was on the phone trying to find a heavy-duty towing company that could handle a loaded cement truck on a steep, unstable gravel road. Spoiler alert. There aren't many, and the ones that exist are incredibly expensive. They finally found a company willing to even attempt the recovery. They said they'd need two of their biggest wreckers, and it would be an all-day job, with a price tag that made Bob physically wince, and they couldn't get there for several hours. Meanwhile, the cement in that truck is getting harder and harder by the minute. So there we all are, standing on the side of my mountain, watching this monument to bad decisions slowly become a permanent fixture. The HOA thought they could bully their way onto my property to save a few minutes and a few bucks. Instead, they ignored a clear warning from the one person who knew what they were talking about. After the truck was finally hauled away empty, because they had to dump the hardened cement somewhere else. Another problem for them, Bob approached me, holding his hat in his hands. He was a changed man, humbled. "I am so sorry," he said. "You were right. We should have listened. We will, of course, pay for all the repairs to your road. Just send me the bill. I have the estimate from my contractor right here. It's a big number. A very big number. It's for the road repair, the regrading, the new gravel, and the reconstruction of the shoulder with proper reinforcement this time. It's probably 10 times what they would have spent on fuel to just take the long way around. The lesson here: simple. When a property owner who built their own mountain road tells you not to drive a cement truck on it, you should probably listen. Some people just have to learn things the hard and very expensive way. For me, I'll be enjoying my newly repaired HOA-funded road very soon, and you can bet they'll be using the public roads from now on. Thanks for listening to my story. It's been a crazy couple of days. If you've got any wild HOA stories of your own, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to read them. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more. See you next time.